What's up, guys? I'm LQ. This is the LQ Review. Thank you for joining me here at my YouTube channel. This is where I talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that I love to talk about. Movies, video games, comic books, TV shows, and right now I'd like to give you guys my review of the new SpongeBob SquarePants movie, Sponge on the Run. And, you know, I'm not really a huge SpongeBob fan. The cartoon really hit kind of when I was already too old to be interested in it. I have gone back and revisited some of it, or visited some of it for the first time. The claymated SpongeBob Christmas special was actually pretty funny. Not the first movie, the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, I didn't really care for, but the second one that they did, Sponge Out of Water, I found to be humorous. I took my son to see it, and I remember laughing several times at it, especially the parts of the movie where they were out of the water, and those parts were pretty humorous. So I wasn't really too excited about Sponge on the Run in the at all, and maybe it's just that I'm not the target audience for this, but I really didn't care for this movie. There was some laughs in it. There was some decent jokes. The movie revolves around SpongeBob going out and trying to find his snail, Gary, that had been kidnapped. And it involves him going to the real world, leaving the ocean and going to the real world and traveling to Atlantic City. And maybe it's just that I remember watching it thinking this is a lot like Sponge Out of Water. And although the plot was different, like I said, it involved a rescue mission, it just all felt very familiar and very safe. And I don't know, I kind of felt like SpongeBob was going to be something that was going to push the boundaries a little bit more, and this definitely feels like it stayed in the box. There was some decent cameos in this. Keanu Reeves showed up a few times, and it was pretty funny when he did show up. Snoop Dogg had a cameo. Danny Trejo has a cameo. So there's some decent cameos in this, and the cameos usually made you smile and brought some laughs. But for the most part, the narrative itself wasn't incredibly funny. It was just very, like I said, very safe. I expected it to be a lot more. I expected it to be a lot funnier than it was, and it just wasn't. So, yeah, I guess I'm not going to get too deep into this. I didn't really care for it, but I'm not exactly the target audience either. You know, like I said, SpongeBob really hit when I was in my early 20s, and it was just never something that really connected with me. So while I have revisited it with my son when he was younger and I have seen the movies, it didn't work for me. It didn't work for me. Like I said, it was nice seeing Keanu Reeves. Whenever Keanu Reeves shows up a few times, and whenever he shows up, you know, it's good for a laugh. But I just wasn't really into it. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm probably just not the target audience. The fact that I wasn't into it probably says a lot. So there it is anyways. I didn't care for it. I'm just going to give it a solid C. And that's because I do think that I have to consider my perspective. I'm giving it a C because I think I have to consider my perspective. I'm not the target audience. I'm not somebody that's going to get a whole lot out of this in the first place. So I have a hard time giving it a grade below a C because I think that some people, if you grew up with SpongeBob, you might really like it. Again, it was just all very familiar, though. I mean, it had the what's the character that tries to steal the formula for the Krabby Patty. Plankton, right? Yeah, Plankton. It had Plankton trying to steal the formula for the Krabby Patty again. Very similar to to Sponge Out of Water. There's a sequence in it with Plankton trying to steal the formula that reminded me a lot of Sponge Out of Water. Again, it just felt very familiar. It didn't feel like they really tried anything new. So, yep, I'm going to give this a solid C. You might really like it if you're a big SpongeBob fan, but if you're somebody like me and you didn't, SpongeBob's not a part of your childhood, I don't know that you're going to get a lot out of it. So that's my take on it anyways. What did you think of SpongeBob Sponge Out of Water? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to hear your take on it, and I'd love to have a conversation about it. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel, and as always, thank you so much for joining me here at the Yoki Review, where we get to talk about all the geeky, nerdy stuff that we love to talk about. Until next time, we'll see you guys later.